Today, we're gonna dive into the jaw-dropping and cringeworthy experiences of some of the worst employees who stepped into the spotlight during their monumental blunders and jaw-dropping laziness. Get ready to cringe, laugh, and question how these individuals ever got hired in the first place. You won't believe the hilariously disastrous attempts at work that we're about to recount. Absolutely, and it all starts with a shocking twist of fate. Imagine an unsuspecting employee going about their business, unaware that the very person they're talking about is none other than the esteemed president of Kendall Jackson Winery. You can only guess what's about to happen. Oh, you won't believe it. So, picture this. The unsuspecting employee lets loose completely unaware of who's listening. Trust me, you're not gonna believe what he said.
And every job has both you gotta deal with, you know.
Talk about a career-limiting move. Indeed, the tension escalated with every passing second. President of Kendall Jackson Winery on the edge of his seat, wondering how far this unwitting employee would go.
The people in the office think the drivers are lazy or do this or do that. Right. The drivers think that the people in the office are lazy, do this and do that. They're just work associates. I mean, after a 16-hour day and they tell you this or that.
Brace yourself, because it's about to get even crazier. Just when you thought the damage was irreparable, the rant takes an unexpected turn that shatters expectations and forever alters the dynamics of the workplace. You won't believe what this employee said next.
Man, you want your goal at the end of the day, customer service, all that, is having that truck empty.
Wow, that's a serious reality check. And the president, Jack, was clearly taken aback by this employee's attitude. He called it strictly unacceptable. Absolutely, it was a moment that left hearts dropping and tension rising. It made the boss question the true character of his team, as Jack put it.
I don't want the foul language with our customers. That is not a concierge level of service. I'm not sure where Renee's future is with our company.
It's a cringeworthy moment that will leave you gasping for air and contemplating the consequences of speaking without knowing who's listening. Off to the next captivating episode of Undercover Boss, where the CEO ventures into the bustling world of Menchie's, a popular yogurt outlet in Washington, to work alongside the dedicated shift leader, Drew. From the start, Drew showed a pretty questionable behavior.
If you want to be rude, I guess that could be a twist, but I mean, I wouldn't recommend.
But of course, that was a joke. Not a good one at that. And trust me, there's only going down from that one.
Really?
I feel like pretty people shouldn't have to do anything.
Pretty people should not do anything.
Yeah.
Yikes, that's a statement for sure. But wait, it gets worse when Drew says something she really shouldn't have, especially not to the CEO himself. But of course, how could she possibly know?
Working here at Menchie's pretty much sucks. That's not my favorite.
Man, how hypocritical does one have to be to say something like that when you're working for the same company? That's not all, cause looks like she's got some plans for her future.
Marry a plastic surgeon and not have to do anything.
And her jokes? They crossed all the limits with this one.
Tanning and bed tanning. Tanorexic, that's what I call it.
Tanorexic?
Yep. I like to say melanoma or bust.
The CEO was more than upset with her behavior, especially her inappropriate jokes, and he knew she needed more training. So that's exactly what she received once the big reveal happened. Stepping into another undercover mission is the big shot of Hooters, Kobe Brooks. And what was his mission? To understand the company from the ground up, all while his co-workers thinks he's just part of a crew making a documentary about their jobs. At one of the Hooters joints, he meets Jimbo, the manager. He wants to get the scoop on how things run and how Jimbo's leadership shapes the place. But wait a minute, things start to get awkward. Jimbo's comments about the Hooters girls and his weird ways of doing things leaves Brooks feeling less than impressed.
My, those are some non-glamorous nails you have. Have a seat.
As the day rolls on, Brooks gets more and more uneasy. Jimbo's got these crazy ideas, and they're pretty uncomfortable.
The first girl that finishes her plate of beans will go home. You cannot use your hands, okay?
Yup, a bean eating contest that is nowhere near fun.
Hey, come on, girl, who wants to go home? Oh, look, ooh.
And guess what? Brooks is thinking, seriously? Is that what we're doing? He's not a fan of these antics, but he goes along with it for the sake of the show. And if he could, he'd have revealed his identity right then and there to teach that moron a lesson. One user would even love to fund them harassment suits against Jimbo. And honestly, we're all here for it. Clearly, people are furious, and why wouldn't they be? Jimbo's behavior is completely disgusting, and he has no respect for women. And here's the real kicker. Brooks is struggling inside. He's torn between what Hooters stands for and what he's actually seeing. It's like a clash between the company's values and the reality playing out right in front of him. He's not having it with Jimbo's shenanigans.
Interact with the girls, it's really not acceptable behavior.
As the sun sets on his undercover adventure, Brooks takes a moment to think it all through. He's more than just disappointed by Jimbo's behavior and the whole vibe that's been going on. He straight up says that the stuff he witnessed doesn't match up with what Hooters is supposed to be all about. It's time Jimbo's inappropriate behavior comes to an end. Kobe's decided to unveil his mask and reveal his true identity, and guess how Jimbo reacts when he's finally confronted about his behavior.
Do that for me when you go back.
If I'm too competitive and if I'm too harsh, man, it works. Shame on me if it's a bad thing of being uber competitive.
What was that response? He's asking you to take accountability for your actions and apologize to the women you degraded, and you're here saying completely random, unrelated shit? How does that even make sense? It's when Kobe talks about his own 2 daughters and says how'd he feel uneasy if they worked under someone like Jimbo that he finally realized what he had.
And okay, I get it. I get what he says, and yeah.
Also, we can all agree that the dude should have been fired, but hey, it seems like Kobe might not have all the power to do that. Jimbo was a handful, wasn't he? But wait till you meet our next employee. Y'all ever seen that video with Harlan Kent, the big boss of Yankee Candles, going undercover and meeting this dude Dan? Let me tell you, Dan ain't exactly a ray of sunshine, you feel me?
My 2-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We're still in our young family stage.
I do, it's in my pocket.
Radio malfunction.
You can totally tell that Dan isn't exactly what you'd call Mr. Friendly, especially when it comes to kids, right? I mean, this dude's got a serious bone to pick with the little ones, like a grudge from way back. But let me tell you, that's just the beginning of the Dan drama, my pals. It's like the tip of the iceberg, and there's a whole mountain of stuff going on beneath the surface.
Bear with me here. Wow, that one's not turning on.
So, check it out. Dan drops some words that really make you question what's cooking in that noggin of his. I mean, for real. It's like there's something seriously off about the way he rolls. But hold up, there's more to this saga. Dan's not just picky about who he doesn't like, he's basically anti-everyone and their grandma. This dude's temper is like a fireworks show, and he ain't afraid to let it all hang out, no holding back. It's like a whole emotional roller coaster with this guy.
Can't browse her that way.
I want to talk to the manager.
That's me. My name is Sadie, and I'm the store manager.
Oh man, when Harlan finally pulls back the curtain and lets Dan in on who he really is, it's like the fireworks start, but in a different way, you know? Harlan's like, hold up, buddy. Your behavior and the way you're talking, that's a big no-no in Yankee Candle land. He ain't mincing words. He's laying it all out there. Not impressed, not one bit. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Rumor has it that there's more to Dan than just what you see on the surface. Word on the street is his old man had some serious struggles with the bottle, like a real hardcore alcoholic. So you gotta wonder if growing up in that kind of tough environment might have had something to do with why Dan's acting the way he is. I mean, life can throw some serious curveballs at you, and maybe that shaped Dan in ways we can't even fathom. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You never really know what's at the core of someone's actions, right? And Harlan, he's not ready to throw in the towel on Dan just yet. He's all about cutting some slack and offering him a chance to score a job that he's actually gonna care about. You feel me? It's like Dan's got an opportunity to break out of his shell and dive into something that ignites his passion, not just punching the clock. It's like chapter 1 in Dan's book of getting his act together and carving out a path in this crazy world. And that ain't the end of the story, folks. We're about to roll into our next scene, so stay tuned for the next chapter. Alright, hold on tight, because next we're about to dive into the world of that famous crazy lady who wreaks havoc like a total pro.
That's me.
That's you?
Hi. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Before we jump into her crazy shenanigans, let's hit the rewind button for a minute. In the Retro Fitness episode, the big boss takes a totally unexpected detour. He's going full-on reality TV contestant, and here's the scoop. He figures he needs to be in the loop about what's popping inside his gym, because let's face it, people often size up a company based on the head honcho. So he's stepping into the arena to see if folks are really vibing with him and his brand. Brace yourselves, because what he stumbles upon is gonna crank things up to a boiling point. Keeping his cool turns into a real nail-biter. Have you ever wondered if your boss truly gets the grind you go through every day? Well, this ride is about to take you on a roller coaster with revelations that'll leave your jaw on the floor. Buckle up, folks. It's gonna be a wild one. Oh man, let's not forget about that wild lady we mentioned earlier. Hold on tight, because Eric's about to run into a nightmare named Jacqueline. This gal, she's a whole different level of cray-cray.
People, I just want to punch them in the face sometimes.
And when it comes to office decorum, it's like she's never even heard of it.
Like this, taking pictures of myself. You can run your gym the way you want it to run.
Seriously, does she think she's on some kind of permanent vacation just snapping selfies like it's her job? And here's the kicker. The word shame, it's like a foreign language to her. She's out here proudly parading her selfie-taking and rudeness routine like it's some kind of talent show. Can you even wrap your head around that? I'm talking major grossed out vibes. Now, the big question is, how on earth do you deal with sharing the same air as someone like that? I mean, this is next level, folks. We gotta know. What's your take on dealing with a coworker who's all about selfies and zero manners? Sound off, because we're diving headfirst into this wild office circus, and we need all the insights we can get. And guess what? Instead of, actually helping the customers, because that's kind of her job, she's out here being all entitled.
Not a slave. I don't work for you. I don't know what to do.
Calling herself a slave for doing what she's supposed to do is a bit much. I mean, did she snooze through history class or what? Is this some kind of American classic we missed? This smarty pants thinks it's her birthright to dish out disrespect to the customers, all in a gym of all places. I mean, what do you expect, folks? It's a gym. People are gonna ask about protein, no doubt. It's like she's got a one-way ticket to Rudeville. So what's your take on this, huh? Dealing with a coworker who's convinced they're above the job and thinks it's okay to be disrespectful? It's a real head-scratcher, ain't it? Let's hear your thoughts, because we're knee-deep in this crazy office drama. From being the absolute worst employee to thinking you're all that in a bag of chips, only to be wasting everyone's time with your privileged nonsense. And now it's payback time. When the CEO steps up and lays it all on the line, this employee dares to dodge the truth and then starts arguing about it. I mean, come on, it's like they didn't even fess up when the proof's right there, plain as day. That's just plain stupid, ain't it? Karma's got their number, that's for sure.
There's no answer you could possibly say right now to me, none, that is going to be acceptable.
Next, we move on to the employee who's a total hoot. This guy's job description reads like a comedy sketch.
We're gonna smoke some cigarettes, we're gonna flirt with some women, we're gonna sell some...
He's there puffing on cigarettes, laying on the charm with the ladies, and breaking out salsa moves like he's auditioning for a dance competition. It's safe to say John was hit with a shockwave when he uncovered all this. So let's dive deeper into this episode with John Hartman, a real self-made legend. I mean, this dude went from being an ex-FBI agent to becoming a rock star entrepreneur who can do it all. The top dog at True Values. He's a jack of all trades.
Ensure that this homegrown American hardware story.
Well, why did he step into the shoes of an undercover boss? Because John's on a mission to make sure his company stays super relevant for the next generation of customers. He's all about keeping things fresh and modern. So when he shows up, you know he's here to make sure the whole crew's got their engines revving, and they're all hustling to get the job done. It's a real game changer, and he's all about making sure they're in sync and bringing the best to the table. This guy's a boss in every sense, and it's a wild ride in this episode. Alright, let's circle back to our favorite employee, Bard, because there's still more to spill. And trust me, we've only scratched the surface. This employee isn't content with just being a smoke and dance act. He's been spilling some thoughts out there in the front.
I'd probably like to see her walk out with some more stuff, or maybe have grabbed the number, but maybe I'm not her taste.
Yeah, he does some real dirty talk about the girls behind their backs while putting on a front as the most efficient worker. All the while, he's secretly hoping to score their phone numbers. Who's his primary clientele? Single ladies? Because he's flying solo apparently. You gotta hand it to him for having his priorities locked in. The moment of truth arrives and John, the big boss, goes all in.
Hardware store is not the place where you pick up girls. And I want to be crystal clear with you. Our customers are there for one purpose, only to be treated respectfully.
But here's the kicker. He doesn't slam the door on Bard. Instead, he gives this guy a second shot at redemption. Why, you wonder? Well, here's the scoop. John saw something beneath the surface, a glimmer of potential, a spark within this fella that he believed could ignite a transformation. It's like a roller coaster that's not even close to the last loop-de-loop. We've still got more wild twists and turns coming up. So we're dying to hear your take on this whole shebang. What do you think about John's decision and Bard's shot at redemption? Share your thoughts, because this story's dishing out surprises like candy on Halloween. Alright, now let's set the stage with the backstory of some mouth-watering buffalo wings, sizzling rings, and the whole shebang. Buffalo Wings and Rings, an epic joint that's all about serving up the most finger-licking, face-melting flavors. It's the kind of place where good times are born and every meal feels like a culinary adventure. Established by the genius minds who know a thing or two about what makes your taste buds dance, this spot was born from a love of good food and great times. The folks behind it knew they were onto something special, and boy did they hit the mark. Now, let's fast forward to the real meat of the story, pun intended. We've got Nader Masada, the big cheese, the CEO. This guy's not your average suit and tie executive. No, sir. He's a go-getter, a doer. So he rolls up his sleeves and decides to go undercover to get the real scoop on how his business is running. Why did he decide to go undercover, you ask? Well, it's all about keeping the business in tip-top shape with those 100 locations running smoothly. This man's on a mission to mix things up and make sure everything's cooking just right. It's like the perfect blend of secret agent and top boss, and it's all for the love of keeping those doors wide open. Now, things get seriously heated as he plunges headfirst into the heart of the operation, the kitchen. It's in this culinary battlefield that he crosses paths with the Iron Fist chef, who's like Gordon Ramsay on a meltdown, grappling with some major anger management issues. As for his culinary prowess, well, that's a whole different story. He's essentially a ticking time bomb, and even the top honcho himself can't help but feel the tension in the air.
He's got lead in his ass.
But there's more to this fiery character than just his short fuse.
Please tell me you know how to use a microwave.
I do.
You might be the biggest D-bag in history.
He's not just an aggressive chef, he's also a sexist and a real piece of work. His comments like,
You drop an order and you're done?
Yeah.
Do what you could never do on prom night. Tap it twice.
are beyond belief. It's the kind of stuff that makes your jaw drop and leaves you questioning how this guy's managed to keep a job in the first place. The Iron Fist chef was a whole philosophy that'll leave you scratching your head. He genuinely believes that fear equals respect. He thinks you've got to rule with an iron fist. It's like he's on some power trip and he's spewing things that are downright abusive. I'm gonna kick you straight in your baby nuts. I mean, that's just next level rudeness, right? Fast forward to the big reveal moment. The CEO, Nader, doesn't show up empty-handed. He brings the Iron Fist chef to the table, along with a franchise owner and another coworker. The coworker lays it all out there.
Disrespected them, and how many complaints we had from our customers that could hear all of their...
She reveals how this Iron Fist chef disrespected them, and the number of complaints from customers who heard every F-bomb being dropped is off the charts. It's not just embarrassing, it's a whole circus of unprofessionalism. The CEO gives the franchise owner the power to decide what to do with this Iron Fist chef. And brace yourself, folks, it's no surprise that the guy gets the boot. But here's where things get interesting. It comes as a shock to the Iron Fist chef himself. It's like a dose of karma he never saw coming.
We separate ways.
Okay, so go on then.
And guess what this guy calls himself?
I am who I am. Sorry, I'm such a scary monster.
This guy calls himself a scary monster, but it's clear he's been in denial all along. Finally, there's a glimmer of self-realization. The question is, can he really change his ways, or is he doomed to be the bad boy of the kitchen forever? This user couldn't believe how horrible Wes was, and the name Scary Monster does indeed suit him. And well, I don't disagree with it much. I mean, how can we? Anyway, whatever it is, but we have to agree that this tale's got more layers than a loaded nacho platter. And we're all on the edge, wondering what's next for the Iron Fist chef. Will he change his ways and whip up a better version of himself? Or is he doomed to stir the pot of culinary chaos? One thing's certain, the story's packed with twists and turns that'll keep you hooked. The kitchen's sizzling and the drama spicier than a jalapeno. In the world of undercover adventures, Undercover Boss showcases the transformative power of empathy and understanding in the workplace. These eye-opening journeys offer a unique perspective on the challenges employees face and the dedication they bring to their roles. As leaders and employees unite in these revealing missions, they inspire us all to work towards a more compassionate and customer-centric future. So, who do you think was the worst employee of them all? Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, signing out.